Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for my client Saif's vlogs, and Saif is doing his deload week, so we just do 5x10s with 50% of his training maxes on most of these basic lifts, and we do a handful of small supplemental lifts. So I always vlog his deload weeks just because we're running a vlog series and because he needs one every fourth week, and so we continue to do that. And so the thing that's going on here, if you guys notice, he's actually starting to trim down a little bit now. He's going to continue to lose weight. He's done this in phases, and again, I always get people who comment, they're like, well, this guy just needs to get in shape and lose some weight. And it's like they're not understanding he's lost a lot of weight already. Okay. He also wants to continue to gain strength while he slowly continues to get to a lighter body weight and a lower body fat. And, the thing is, he takes breaks every now and then and stays at maintenance. So he'll cut for a couple months, lose some weight, then he'll stay at the same body weight for a couple months and recomposition a little bit. And when we do that, we gain pretty good muscle and strength, right? He sees good gains. He's actually gaining muscle at the same body weight, which means he's still losing fat when that occurs. Right? He's still losing body fat, and then he'll go back into dedicated weight loss phases. And this is more or less how we've done this with him. He has never bulked. We've gotten significantly stronger at his rep work on all his big lifts. Very much stronger. I'm not just talking about 10 or 20 pounds. Some of his 10 rep sets and 5 rep sets and stuff that we do have gone up 50 and 100 pounds. Without him gaining any body weight, and actually weighing a less total than when we started. Okay, so the idea here is that this was a guy who had a lot of muscle, does a very, very physically intensive job, was quite overweight, but had a lot of muscle mass and decided to really get serious about training, because every time he trained on his own, he would hurt himself. He would get hurt. He would get a lot of overuse injuries. And even then, due to his work, and the fact that we never bulk, I have to deload him every fourth week. So every fourth week, we take a really light week like this so that he can recover, and then we push hard again. But historically, he got hurt and would have to take a couple months off from training until he hired me, and then we started making serious progress because we monitor these things. We deload him frequently. We watch his overall workload. We adjust around inflammation, and eventually we're not going to have to do that. Eventually, we'll adjust his programming differently when he's in a period of time to where he no longer needs to lose body weight. And maybe his job isn't as physically demanding, we'll see. Then, we can adjust those things. But this is someone who, again, decided to start strength training just for overall strength, for health. He said, hey, he may want to compete in powerlifting in a few years. And said I believe he's actually said he probably will. But, he wants a couple more years of base building to do that. So that's pretty much what we're doing, and he already has a lot of muscle. He has a lot of muscle. He's as big as a lot of advanced lifters. And if you look at some of his numbers, what he lifts, yeah, he's up there. But he can still make, block to block progress relatively easily even without bulking. So he's still an intermediate. It's not like the guy has 4 or 5 years of continual training experience without breaks. He doesn't have anything like that. He's been training about 1.5 years. So, we still classify him as an intermediate. Even though his squat is up in that 4+ plate range and, bench is approaching 3 plates, that's okay. So his squat day on the deload weeks, we pretty much just do safety bar squats. We use the belt squat machine, and then he does some seal rows on a seal row bench. All right, bench press day, we come in, we just do sets of 10, 50% of his training max on the bench, okay, which you guys see a few of the sets here. And he's been working on the wider grip lately. He used to only close grip. And keep in mind, he didn't bench press when he first came to me. He was mostly an overhead presser. So he built his bench up relatively quickly. But he only did close grip because, again, some aches and pains in his shoulders. But now I've got him experimenting with a wider grip. He likes it. He can do it without pain. And so we're using more wide grip and then specialty bars. So we'll do sets of 10 on the deload week, and then I have him do some band work. He does some band press downs, he does some band pull apart, stuff like that. Again, keeping tendons healthy, keeping his shoulders healthy. So for him, because of, again, the issues we have with his work-related stuff with the upper body, all the carrying and loading he has to do, we do quite a bit of band work for prehab. Of course, he has a physical therapist also who he sees, and they prescribe different stuff, and I stay out of that. So, but I mainly prescribe just band work for his tendon health. All right, deadlifting, is actually his worst lift. Even though he's decently strong at it, it's his worst lift relative. And so we've been looking at working on his form overall a little bit, right? Adjusting, his T-spine position, his head position, some other stuff that he does to, again, make that more efficient as we build that posterior chain up. So I threw up a few clips of his deadlifting here. Of course, he's still using straps for all of it, and I eventually want to get him away from straps. But, a lot of times you get clients who are reluctant on those things, that you say as a coach, hey, this is what I'd like to see, and they can be reluctant at times for a variety of reasons, and that's okay. And I think because he gets so much bicep inflammation from his job, there's that subconscious fear of tearing a bicep in the back of his head. Which granted, if it's fatigued all the time, that does put you at a higher risk in theory, but, it's not necessarily going to be that high if everything else is dialed in. But, it weighs on his mind. So on the deadlift day, we do some sets of 10 on the deadlift. And we do reverse hypers is what we finish off with because he's got a reverse hyper. But we do, after the deadlifts, we do more seal rows. And then that's where he does his band curls. Because again, that's all we do for his arms is band work. Pushing, pulling, and band work. He's got big arms. But we do the high rep band curls just for his tendons due to the issues that are there. And they seem to actually make his arms grow. But again, his biceps have to carry so much load all the time anyways. They probably get, a decent amount of stimulus just at his work, even if it's isometric. And isometrics are not particularly good for building muscle. But, there's some fatigue being created there. But yeah, the band curls actually seem to work as far as building that up. And then, of course, now that he has a reverse hyper, we finish off with reverse hyper extensions. And most people who follow my channel know how much I love the reverse hyper. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.